Hey, do you ever look at your art and think something is not quite right? You can't put your finger on it. Is it the lighting? Is it the color? Is it the composition? Could be anything. Well, my name's Lee White, and I'm going to show you how to fix your art. This time, we're going to be looking at art by Kristen Tango, one of our students who has graciously let us do some crits on her work. And we're going to be talking about color, how to control color, how do you pick colors. Colors is one of those weird things that a lot of people struggle with, and hopefully these tips can help you out. I'm going to show you guys two things. It's always fun to come up with a lecture while someone else is just lecturing, and you're going. I'm gonna show you guys two little things real quick. This is going to be a pro tip. I don't even know if I want to give it away because I use it.
Better just stop right there.
The pro tip. All right, here we go. So, talking about what Will was doing with analogous color and what I like to call broken color, where you have like an all over warm painting, but you have a lot of different kind of colors in there. I do that quite a bit. So it adds interest, and it's sort of simple to mess around with. So I just did this color study. I do a ton of these. Like I was just saying for Will, I'll just run through a bunch of these cool colors and warm colors. But this broken color idea is all these weird colors down here. They're if I do them at full strength, they're really, really hot. But if I lower the value of them, if I lower the value a little, lower the opacity a little bit, they start to blend a little bit. But you may wonder, like, where do you come up with all the colors? Like, how do you break all these colors up? And I want to show you something with the color picker that's really, really interesting. Can you see is the color picker showing up?
Yeah.
On screen. Okay, good. Most people just click the color picker and it's automatically set to hue, saturation, and brightness over here. And so what you see is your high saturation on this side, you see your low saturation on this side, and then you can, throw it anywhere on this little slider bar. It's okay and a partially usable palette if you're comfortable with this, but most people never ever go to the other areas. And I want to show you guys where I get all these broken colors from. If I pick just a starter color, let's pick that one right there. I hang out in these lab colors, especially the A and the B. I have no idea. I guess it's luminosity, and the A is, I have no idea what they are. But the beauty is you get these, it's a self-selecting palette, because once I've picked a color, if I slightly move over, it goes from that really warm orange to this beautiful, beautiful purple. And if I slightly slide this slider, it goes from the purple into like this kind of muted red. And so you get these really, if I just make a couple of just swatches here, I'll show you. It's really, really pretty. And
that's
it holds
amazing
together. Yeah, and so it can give you a broken palette that has a relationship. Oh, that's a little too close. Even going into green, they'll all relate to each other. And so that's how you get all these broken colors and have a nice relationship. You just pick a starting color, like Will was saying, pick a key color, and then you can kind of branch out in that little area, and the colors will always work. You don't even have to, you could close your eyes and move that thing around and the color will work. So it's kind of a cool little thing. And I do that all the time.
I like all these like
for
color for dummy tips. Like Will's just like, you want something to pop, make it the only color that's that in the thing. And he's like, just close your eyes and pick, and you can do it.
Okay, so Kristen, one of our students, has graciously allowed us to just show some of the work that she's done, and we can talk about it in terms of those principles that Will was talking about a second ago. And like these are some images that I think they're really, really cool concepts, but the color might be holding them back a little bit. And so kind of based on what Will's lecture was, I wanted to talk about what the problem is here and how we would solve the problem. Now there's some issues with any drawing where color, value, and lighting, like Will was saying, all go together. And so I could do a draw over, but if I just change the colors, it wouldn't fix some of these problems. But just talking about color, if you look at what's happening in this image, we sort of have that randomized approach that Will was showing in some of the before images. Before, we've got what I like to almost call it the Crayola technique. Remember when you had that box of 128 crayons or whatever it was?
Yeah.
You're like, all right, I got a dinosaur and I got 128 colors. So I'm going to color this green, and this is going to be purple, and I haven't used this crayon in a while. This one's going to be, and so you get sort of a spottiness that starts to happen, or what I like to call a rainbowing that happens because you start to get the full spectrum. You get green and yellow and blue and red and the whole thing. And so you can kind of see that here. And that might actually work if the kid is dreaming. Like, so say, for example, this image is going to be this really colorful, kind of vivid dreaming, lucid kind of dreaming. And so maybe that is that bright, and maybe that does have multiple colors, but we kind of need to lean into one of those hues and then group the colors around that hue instead of having it be all over the place. But even if that was the concept, once we have a really bright saturated area here, like Will was saying with the focal point, the rest of this probably needs to calm down. But look, we still have the purple over here. We still have the green. We have the yellow. And so it's almost the same. It's too much of the same kind of rainbowing all over the place. And so you pick where your saturation is, desaturate elsewhere. And I think that would fix this image quite a bit. Any other things you guys want to add to this one?
No,
you're good.
Seem fair. And then we have another one this is from our Critique Arena contest called Storm. And I just want to show you kind of how this plays out in multiple images, because these are really, really cool concepts. And if we can start limiting the value and controlling the value a little bit more, and then controlling where those spot colors go, these images will start to hold up a little bit better because the concepts are great and the shapes of the individual objects are fantastic in these images, but you can see it's just too much of it all over the place. And so, going to the topic of the kind of having a color idea, you can see this one seems a little bit random too. It almost is like we got to fill it in. There's this really hot purple on the, what do you call that thing? Windmill? What is that thing?
Yeah. weather vane.
Yeah. So a real hot color down here, but when I look down at that color, I don't get any payoff. There's not a reason for me to be looking at that spot. And we got this bright blue cow, but then everything else is kind of normal colored. So why am I looking at the cow? And so color does draw your attention. It tells us where to look, and the saturation level of those colors matter quite a bit too. So my advice to this student, and extrapolating that to all you guys too, is just be intentional about it. Where do I want you to look? Like Will said in his lecture, where do I want you to pay attention to? And let's put all that stuff there, the value, the color, the lighting, all that stuff. And then the other stuff can calm down, and it becomes a formula for picking color. Because I will say this, color is the hardest thing. I'm good with the value. Like when I have all my sketches done and, for a book or whatever, everything's great. And then I go to the next step, which is, what is the color for all this stuff? It's always anxiety. It gives me anxiety because it's just like, what color is this? What color is this? I don't know. And then when I start keying it, like, okay, this whole painting is going to be a warm, in the warm hues. And then so, okay, which warm hue? And I pick that, and then everything else falls based on that. And so, you start asking yourself these conscious questions, it organizes it for you instead of it feeling like a coloring book, which is the hardest way to color. If you want to see us fix more art, join us every third Thursday for a How to Fix Your Art live stream right here on this channel. So like and subscribe.